2024 was certainly an interesting year for video games. While some may have been disappointed by a lack of news, Switch successor, and while it's been filled with surprise after surprise, some of those surprises unfortunately being game developer layoffs, one thing has remained constant. The Nintendo Switch has games. There were still plenty of great games to play to keep ourselves distracted. Games I enjoyed, franchises I discovered for the first time, and hidden games I didn't expect to love as much as I did were all things I experienced in 2024. And today, we're gonna talk about them. So without further ado, here are what I consider the best of the best, the cream of the crop, the top 10 Switch games of 2024. Let's lay some ground rules before we begin. Number 1, the game must be on the Switch. Sorry, Astrobot and Persona 3 Reload, neither of you will be on this list. I still love you both though, and congrats to Astrobot for winning Game of the Year. It deserves it! Rule number 2, the game doesn't have to be a Switch exclusive. As long as you can play it on the Switch, it has the chance of being on this list. And rule number 3, I can't add a game to the list that I haven't personally played. So unfortunately, Ace Attorney Apollo Justice, Ace Attorney Investigations Collection, Dragon Quest III, and Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance won't have a chance to be on the list, even if they might deserve it. Sorry about that if you were a fan of those franchises. Also, if any of these games interest you, I made a video about the majority of entries here, so if you'd like to check it out, the link to these videos will be in the description below. Be sure to like them too while you're at it. And with that, my top 10 Switch games of 2024. Number 10! But random, I thought you didn't like Mario and Luigi Brothership. While I'm not the biggest fan of the story of the game, and yes, I said what I said about the pacing, there was still a lot of good stuff going on for the game. And to be fair, it's not the worst story. It just takes forever to get going. But still, there's a lot of great things about the game. The game looks gorgeous and represents the Mario and Luigi art style well. Each location looks unique and fun to explore. While the game is not as funny as other Mario RPGs, it has its moments with Luigi and a few other jokes. But by far, the shining star of this game is the combat. From the regular attacks, to the special brother attacks with flashy animations, to the customizable plugs that allow you certain abilities for short periods of time, it's truly some of the best combat I've seen for the series. While the game is flawed, it still has a spot in my top 10, if barely. For what it does, especially in the combat department, it does just enough to stay on the list. Here's hoping that the next installment of the Mario and Luigi series sails on to new and better seas. Number 9! At the beginning of the year, I was a little unsure about Another Code Recollection. I mean, I never played the DS version before, let alone the Wii sequel that never got a US release. But I was pleasantly surprised with Another Code. The first game in the collection, Another Code 2 Memories, had you working with the ghost boy named D, trying to find your father, discover the truth about your mother, and find out what happened to D, all while solving elaborate puzzles and remembering your past. It's definitely the best of the two games, having a nice balance of strategic and difficult puzzles. The tension is high as you try to find out what's going on with the overall story, and the conclusion wraps things up nicely for the next game. Speaking of the other half of the game, Another Code R is a game where you enter Lake Juliet, and with the help of Matthew, uncover the mysteries there and find out how it all connects to your father. It's definitely longer, but has more of a lighthearted tone and is, in my opinion, a less tight experience than the first game. But it still has awesome puzzles and wonderful music, and it's certainly worth trying out. It's a shame people forgot about this game, as I feel it didn't get the love it deserved. It's a great puzzle game with a great mystery and an overall great adventure. And that adventure is in Lake Juliet. Number 8! While this game wasn't the champion of 2024, Nintendo World Championships NES Edition is certainly taking on the challenge. Here you take part in a series of NES-specific challenges, where you have to complete tasks as quickly as possible. There were so many different goals for games like Super Mario Bros., Legend of Zelda, Kirby, Kid Icarus, Super Mario Lost Levels, and more. Not only did you do your best to complete them on your own, but you got the chance to compete with people from around the world, trying to reach the highest percentage. Or better yet, become the NES champion. It can really get addicting to try clearing each challenge, and I've spent hours trying to be the very best at specific challenges. I'm looking at you, Zelda. There's one with a Lionel that I really tried my hardest to perfect, and I'd say I did a pretty good job. It's a wonderful love letter to retro gaming, speedrunning, and of course, the NES. The amount of sprites you can unlock for this game is astounding. Plus, the physical edition was one of the best this year that I've gotten, especially with the pins. Whether you wear them or not, whether you grew up with the NES or were born years afterwards, Nintendo World Championships NES Edition is sure to help you go for gold. Number 7! While Mario was always the star of the show and Luigi was in charge of real estate, Princess Peach finally got her own game in Princess Peach Showtime. Here she releases her inner diva on stage by dressing up in different costumes, from a sword fighter to a cowgirl to my absolute favorite, the Dashing Thief, all while facing off against Madame Grape and the Sour Bunch. Each costume offers different gameplay styles for Peach to try, increasing the gameplay variety and allowing ultimate possibilities with all the stuff that can happen on stage. Sure, not all the costumes are hits. I'm still not the biggest fan of Figure Skater Peach, and I can see why people say the game is too easy, but the theater kid in me adores this title regardless. I love how it looks, looking like everything is made of cardboard, or the subtle nods the game gives to stage and theater tropes. Good Feel really made this a fun platformer that I feel is not only underrated, but a great introduction to Princess Peach's potential. It put the spotlight on her, and she truly does deserve a standing ovation. But while I did enjoy it, there was a game starring another princess that I enjoyed a little more. But we'll get to that a bit later. Number 6! Third time's the charm for the Mario Party series, as Super Mario Party Jamboree really is my standout multiplayer game for 2024. The classic board mode is the best it's ever been, not only having new boards like Goomba Lagoon and Rainbow Galleria, but also returning boards like Western Land. However, the introduction of Jamboree Buddies, a mechanic that can certainly change the tides of any game, sets it apart from previous entries, for better or for worse. My absolute favorite thing are the online modes, like Bowser's Kaboom Squad and Koopathlon. Both modes let you play online as much as you like, either working as a team to take down Bowser or competing against each other in what is basically a Mario Party Battle Royale. Top all that off with reaction animations, a story mode, unlockable characters, and we get one of the best Mario parties I've played in a long time. My only complaint is that the games have weird pacing that take a bit too long, but even so, I loved playing around with friends whenever I had the opportunity, even if that means our friendship ends sometime after. With Super Mario Party Jamboree, there's never been a party quite like it. Number 5! Peach wasn't the only princess to finally get a starring role in 2024, as Zelda finally got some time to shine in The Legend of Zelda: Echoes of Wisdom. You'd think it wouldn't take this long given that her name's in the title. While this game does start with Link rescuing her, Zelda quickly takes center stage with her new companion Tri after things suddenly go sideways for the green-clad frontrunner of the series. The echo mechanic introduced in this game is magnificent, being able to copy certain objects and enemies in the game, giving Zelda a Beastmaster role in a sense. Not to mention getting Link's sword and powers for certain challenges, if temporarily. It's really cool to see Zelda's perspective in Hyrule and how she goes around helping the denizens, slowly removing each rift while collecting every echo you can. And let's not forget things like side quest, Dampy the Gravekeeper's automatons, and even the weird stamp guy. And again, those smoothies look delicious. And in fact, the whole game looks amazing. It's all done in that adorable art style we've come to love in top-down Zelda games. I'm really glad they not only made a game for Zelda, but a game for Zelda that plays uniquely different from any other Zelda game. It makes it more memorable. And while it's not my favorite Zelda game and on the halfway point of this list, it still is a wise decision to play this game. Number 4! If there was ever a bunch of jokers that took the world by storm, captivating them with an awesome indie game experience, that'd be Balatro. Balatro is a roguelike card game where you have to get the allotted number of chips through various traditional poker hands. Each hand is influenced by the number of chips you can get, the number of multipliers you can have, and more importantly, the cast of jokers you have helping you achieve these goals. I was already a fan of roguelikes before, but combining the concept with poker mechanics is kind of genius. In addition to that, adding different jokers giving you certain abilities that you're able to buy, unlock, and change after each round can mean the difference between success and failure. This game is super addicting, and it's perfect for the Switch especially because of the pick it up and go style it has. Combine that with the timeless sprite work of the cards and jokers, fun collaborations with other IPs, and a satisfying game loop, and you have the makings of one of the best indie games ever. Not just for 2024, whether you know how to play poker or not. Hell, this game taught me how to play poker. Not every game can do that now, can it? Balatro has more than earned its spot, and you'll certainly want to go all in when playing it. Number 3! Atlas kicked butt in 2024. They released not only Persona 3 Reload in January, but also Metaphor ReFantazio a few months back. And in between those releases, they even managed to release our number 3 entry, with of course the help of Vanillaware, Unicorn Overlord. I know the name sounds a bit weird, but this game is so much fun. Prince Elaine is separated from his mother after an invasion. One thing leads to another, and years later, he forms a rebellion to take on the evil Zeronian Empire. You do this with tactical strategy, as you not only take on the Empire, but recruit people from all over the land to help you with your cause. First off, this game has a 10 out of 10 with presentation, and I really love how everyone talks in this old English style. It feels like there was some extra effort put in with the localization, and it really works for the time period. The strategic combat combined with fantastic animation truly made this one of the best looking Vanillaware games to date, as everything just sort of clicks. Top that off with excellent voice acting, hours of gameplay, and a demo that lasts up to 7 hours, and you have one of the most underrated gems of 2024. Please play it. You will not regret it. Number 2! Of all things, I never expected a visual novel to get this high on the list, let alone focused around a serial killer. But here we are. Emio the Smiling Man Famicom Detective Club is the long-titled and long-awaited entry to the Famicom Detective Club series, a game franchise that hasn't seen a new entry in 30 years. But this one is the best of the 3 entries by far, in my opinion, having a mature story while taking the best aspects of the previous games and amplifying them. You must solve the murder of a kid who was found dead with a paper bag on his head. Many believe it is the work of the Smiling Man, and you must use your detective skills to sleuth out the clues, interview people, and discover the truth. The visual novel has a great story, and everything in the game looks fantastic. It's fully voice acted with fantastic Japanese performances too. The gameplay has you doing a combination of things like asking, listening, thinking about your next move, and of course, marking it all down in your handy-dandy notebook, along with other commands you do to unravel the story. And the story is where the game really shines. I can't go into detail because I don't want to spoil anything, but it truly is something that sticks with you. Something that even though I beat it months ago, still has left an emotional impact on me, and especially the ending. Not a lot of people tried this new entry, and if it weren't for the teaser trailer that embraced the game's horror elements, I wouldn't have either. But I am so glad I took a shot on this obscure title. It's well written, clever, and makes me hope Famicom Detective Club gets more love. Honorable mentions! Before we get to number 1, let's look at some honorable mentions. Little Kitty Big City, a short but memorable indie game where you play as a cute, adorable cat lost in the big city, trying to find their way home after falling out a window. It has a simple soundtrack and adorable premise that makes exploring as a cat feel whimsical and entertaining. Plus, you can knock people over. That's half the fun of being a mischievous animal. Luigi's Mansion 2 HD is the port of the Luigi sequel that, while innovating and has great ideas, had some that made the experience a lot more challenging. And there's a lot of steps I wish this remaster cut. Still, it has great music and an entertaining adventure, and while it has a lot it needs to work on and improve upon, does some great things that change the series up. Pocket Card Jockey Ride On. I'm glad this game got remade, as it made solitaire a lot more interesting. Not only by using horse race mechanics, but also having an off-the-wall story and some of the funniest dialogue I've ever seen in a game. Truly worth playing, as it's pretty affordable too. If you want some horses with your card games, be sure to give it a shot. And finally, Splatoon 3 Side Order. The DLC for Splatoon 3 I've been waiting a year and a half for, and it was well worth all the time. Experiencing a Splatoon roguelike where we are able to go through challenges to get all the way to the top floor of the Spire of Order, all while working to get upgrades after each attempt, was so much fun. Not to mention, the idea of the colorless void and adding color to each level was neat. Splatoon DLCs are always something special, and this one was no exception, especially that finale. I really loved it a lot. However, as much as I did love it, this is just an honorable mention because it's a DLC, not a new game, and helps make Splatoon 3 even more worth the money. And I won't treat it like a new game. Game Awards! Also, I know it wasn't on Switch, but one more quick shout out to Astro Bot and Persona 3 Reload, both games I played on the PS5 that were really good. I mentioned in previous videos how my PS5 was collecting dust, but I'll be honest, these games kept my PS5 up and running, and Astro Bot deserves Game of the Year. Truly, it does. Please play it if you haven't already. And with that, what's my favorite game of 2024? Well, number 1! I'm sure this comes as no surprise, but my number 1 is Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door Remastered. I grew up with the original years ago, and now to finally have it remade on my favorite console truly warms my heart. I love the paper designs, I love the story, I love the funny dialogue, I love the turn-based combat with timed hits. Everything served in a visually appealing remake with spectacular music and so much love and care that I could go on and on about how much I adore every second of it. In fact, I did a video where I did just that. It's my game of the year, no questions asked. It cranks the nostalgia up while fixing a few of the issues from the older version to modernize gameplay for newer generations. This makes it much easier to play, and getting rid of those annoyances was a great way to keep people invested for the entire story. I had a smile on my face from beginning to end, and it was truly something special. Heck, I even have a replica of the storybook, for God's sake. Please do not sleep on this game. It is worth every penny. I love this game so much, and this remaster has allowed me to love it even more. Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door Remastered is my game of the year of 2024. Well, that's it. That's my top 10 Switch games of 2024. I know it wasn't the year with the most hits, but if you got out of your gaming comfort zone and tried something new, you were sure to find something special and worth playing. I know I did, and half of these games I tried this year were at least worth the purchase, even if I wasn't so sure at first. So in 2025, I am looking forward to trying all sorts of new games, especially on Switch, and eventually, the Switch successor. Thank you so much for watching. Not just this video, but all the videos you watched in 2024. 2024 has been a tough one for sure. Not just for me, but I'm sure all of you too. But one thing I can say about this year is that the channel has certainly grown, and I'm glad people are enjoying the content. It warms my heart whenever I hear someone enjoying these videos, and hearing how they make you smile and make you laugh, and you just really like them. and I hope to continue making better and better videos next year and the years to come. Thank you all so much for your kind words, your support, and all that you do. You all truly make this worthwhile. Thank you. What's next for the channel in 2025? Only time will tell. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next year. Have a good night. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. If you like what you saw, be sure to hit the like button, leave a comment, and check out my other videos too. Special thanks to all the people who helped me out with the video. I couldn't have done it without all of you. And an extra special thanks to my Patreon patrons, including Mantelferox and Savacom. If you'd like to join the Patreon, the link is in the description below, along with my Twitch, Blue Sky, and Instagram. Thank you so much, and I'll see you all in the next video. Happy holidays and Happy New Year.